Hello, good afternoon. My name is Debbie Jacobs, and I wanted to do a video addressing my claim. And my claim is that I have the cure for mental illness. And do I really have the cure for mental illness? Yes, I do, because I have a process to accomplish the positive mind, positive thinking, positive effective coping skills, and healthy self esteem from the negative mind of depression, anxiety, and bipolar. And let me tell you something, that mental illness exists in the negative mind that stems from our hurt and our flaws, and not in the positive mind that it takes healing to accomplish. And what are we healing? We're healing our emotional pain. We're healing our inner child, our emotional wound, and we are healing, all of the experiences in our life. It is the reset, restore to factory settings. And that's when we accomplish positive thoughts, positive effective coping skills, and healthy self esteem. That is our authentic self. That's the way that we arrived, as a child, until through parenting practices, we developed negative thinking, negative ineffective coping skills, and healthy self esteem. If we had developed positive thinking, positive effective coping skills, and healthy self esteem, we would never have had our mental illness. That's my claim, and that's what I'm saying. And that's my experience, because we are taught through our parents negative thinking, negative ineffective coping skills, low self esteem, and their unhealed pain becomes our pain. And our pain can result in mental illness. And mental illness is a sum of our flaws. It is behavioral. Mental illness, for me, was abandonment issues, trust issues, inferiority complex, anger problems, fear, anxiety, worry, insecurity. I was very insecure. A lack of communication skills, poor interpersonal skills, poor social skills, poor, I was impatient, and I was, it's all our bad qualities. And even though I had a lot of bad qualities, I also had good qualities. So it's like, the good was not the bad is the bad, and the bad is what we fix to accomplish positive thoughts, positive effective coping skills, and healthy self esteem. By getting the negativity out of us, we get the depression, anxiety, bipolar, and mental illness out of us. And now let me tell you something. For me, that was, I accomplished it, obviously. That's what I post about. But what it actually, for other people to accomplish it, it really is dependent on their own determination and commitment to taking themselves on. Because you got to take on all these flaws, self-sabotage, nervousness, phobias, rejection. You got to take on all your triggers, all your flaws to overcome them. And when you overcome them, that's how you, and you actually overcome them by changing your thinking from negative thinking that generates negative, ineffective coping skills to positive thinking. Now, I am somebody who I post all the time, and I am, obviously, I want to help people out of their pain. And I feel like I am the best guide because I accomplished it myself. It took me 5 years and $300,000. But if you cannot accomplish it with me, you cannot accomplish it. You will never accomplish it, because the process is challenging, but I am here to help people through it, because it's not just changing our negativity to positivity. There is a component that is ego characteristics of their hurt self, and that is primarily thinking that they know everything, perfectionism, always being right, can't be wrong, not listening. So you got to develop a whole set of coping skills that you don't have just to accomplish getting out of your negativity. You have to listen. You have to be willing to be wrong. That is so. Yes, I absolutely have the cure for illness. You mental illness is dependent on you, and your determination and commitment to the quality of your life and your happiness and freedom. And I hope that once people kind of are in my web, because once I have somebody in my care, it's a lot easier for them to stay motivated because I actually help them to make positive change, and they get to see results. But if somebody is not in my care, then they're not listening, and they're not going to have an opportunity to get the results. Because let me tell you something, it's not easy to accomplish. And I also created an app to reprogram the subconscious mind that I use, that helped me to achieve the amazing results, my authentic self. This is Debbie Jacobs. And let me tell you something. It took me, over 40 years to get to this point. I wish I lived my whole life in this, and never in depression, anxiety, and bipolar, not in my pain. And our pain is the our flaws that make us feel bad about ourselves, and that perpetuates low self-esteem. I went through life thinking people wouldn't like me. Why? What a waste. So I would go to meet new people, and I'd be like, oh, they're not going to like me, and I would create that. And I was awkward. I didn't have confidence in myself or my social abilities. And I felt like I did everything wrong. I didn't know how to act. I always was reactionary. I was angry. I was in fear. I was in anxiety, creating all that upset for myself. What am I doing? I don't want to do that. I don't want to live my life like this. And let me tell you something. A lot of people accomplish things, in their life that I didn't, even if they had mental illness or if they had, problems. But I wasn't able to accomplish success, and I wasn't able to accomplish love. So now I worked on myself, and I said, you know what? I am committed for happiness and love in my lifetime, to work on myself. And my goal was to not be in my own way. My goal was not to cure myself of mental illness. That never even occurred to me, because I never thought it was possible. I didn't even consider it. And that was probably a blessing, because maybe I could have been like, oh, well, I'm just stuck with this and I can't even do anything about it, which I hear a lot of people say in mental illness, because I do post on Facebook, try to spread the word of healing and happiness for the quality of our life. And people say, oh, my brain is broken. I can't do anything about it. It's a disease. We are all individual people before we are our mental illness. And I actually always had that attitude. I was pretty much in the closet with my mental illness, because I didn't want the stigma. I didn't want to be discredited. I didn't want to, be taken less seriously. I didn't want to have any stereotypes. So I went in my life, with bipolar, depression, anxiety in my closet, and showing the world my face, Debbie Jacobs, and trying to operate the best I could. And then when I healed myself of mental illness, I said, oh my God, I have to share this. And I came out of the closet, and I said, I lived with depression, anxiety, and bipolar for most of my adult life. And I cured myself of depression, anxiety, and bipolar. There is a cure. It is a possibility. And to be quite honest, let me tell you something. When I went to work on myself, my brain did not say, no, you can't do that. There was no resistance. My brain was like, okay, do it. Whatever you want to do, figure it out, and you do it, And I did figure it out. I read tons of books, and I had coaching, and I had, seminars and retreats and all this stuff. And I made it to the finish line, the spiritual awakening, which is the cure for mental illness. And doesn't that make sense? And I talk to people in mental illness, and they're in their negative thoughts, their negative, ineffective coping skills, their low self esteem and unconsciousness. and they do not even register that I'm talking about their own freedom and happiness, and to make positive change. It's really kind of bizarre, you know. But let me tell you something. I am, committed and determined for a breakthrough and to have success for the freedom and happiness of people living in mental illness. I'm one person working on it alone, and it actually would be great, to work with people in mental illness, and I am, just so I can cure them through my process of healing and being wrong, so that the world can see people documented mental illness are living in their authenticity, and we need to bring this to mental therapy, and mental therapy needs to change their needs reform needs to change their ineffective treatment and practices. You don't cure, you don't treat mental illness with mental therapy, with medication, and you don't treat it with psychoanalysis. That doesn't help. You treat it with self-improvement, with healing, with positive change, with behavioral change, with with changing. They do CBT and DBT, which is changing our thoughts and changing our coping skills, but they don't have the formula for success. And I accomplished the formula for success, and people need it. It is the cure for mental illness. And I think that the more that people see me having success, the more it will bring success to people living in mental illness. And I do look to see if there are other people that are claiming what I'm claiming, and how I can join forces with people to be a stronger voice, and a bigger influence in making positive change, because this is people's happiness. And not only is it making positive change to mental therapy, it is making positive change to parenting practices. Parenting practices, need to be operating with positive thoughts, positive effective coping skills, and healthy self-esteem, so that no child, is at risk of mental illness. I believe that it totally can be avoided. My mental illness came from the way I was treated, not the way I was born. And the way that I was treated influenced the flaws and behaviors that I developed. Why would I have an inferiority complex? Why would I have abandonment issues? Why would I be shy? Why would I be sensitive? You think that God just, created me like that? For what? So I can have a bad life? So I can be treated, so I can, feel terrible about myself? That's not the way we're meant to be. We are operating with parenting mistakes that have to stop. And let me tell you something. We stop those parenting mistakes, the same process as curing people of mental illness, from going from negative thinking, from going to the negative mind to the positive mind. And that is the cure for mental illness. For sure. For sure, everything that, led me to my own diagnosis stemmed from the behaviors that were developed out of the dynamic of my family. Inferiority complex. I was the youngest. Abandonment issues. Nobody had my back. My dad did, but my dad's method of parenting was with punishment, hitting, verbal abuse. That's what he knew. That is the primary components of parenting. When things go wrong, how do parents handle it? They handle it with negativity, and we need to change that. Handle it with positivity. It's okay if something goes wrong, and then the way that my dad was became the way that we were, and everybody in my household was fighting, saying mean things. My sister used to call me Dummy Debbie D, because I got a D in math, and that, we say these things that are hurtful, and we don't have coping skills for that. I didn't have coping skills to be like, oh, well, she's just being, mean, and she's not nice, and I'm okay, I'm smart. She called me dummy, and I developed negative beliefs around that. And I don't blame my sister at all, because my sister also ended up in mental illness, because of her experiences. And I have three siblings who didn't end up in mental illness. They ended up with negative thoughts, and they were more abusive than I was. But you don't know what you're going to get, because you don't know how each individual child, or you don't know what each individual child is going through and can handle. So you don't know. You have no idea. And let me tell you something. They cannot express it. They cannot be like, "Hey, I think I'm on the path to mental illness, and I need some more support." Kids don't know. They don't know. It's for parents to know. And let me tell you something. When parents have positive thoughts, positive, effective coping skills, and healthy self-esteem, they will know. They will know. They will have no problem, because they're going to see, the dynamic of their family, because they're looking for it, because they want to keep it positive. And if somebody's not speaking up, they're going to recognize that somebody's not speaking up, and also maintaining boundaries and all that stuff, because it's operating different. Everybody thinks that, positive thoughts and negative thoughts, you operate the same. You don't. Of course not. That's like you can't go north and south at the same time. It's totally different. It's different rules. It's different, mindsets, obviously, and it's different modes of operation. The negative mind is the mind of the selfish self. The positive mind, it's about family, alignment, unity, not my way. And all of this stuff factors into mental illness, and all of it needs to be addressed, because mental illness needs to be addressed, suicide needs to be addressed, the family dynamic needs to be addressed. We don't need the negative dysfunctional family. Why would people want to come to earth, just to live their whole life in abusive dysfunctional relationships? We got to stop that. And we actually stop a lot of things just by going from negative thoughts to positive thoughts, from the dysfunctional family to a functional family, from our inauthenticity to our authenticity, from our pain to our happiness. And that's all, the side of the cure for mental illness. It's all about freedom and happiness. So my name is Debbie Jacobs, and I am writing a book on this, because let me tell you something. This is really important, and people need it. I myself have challenges of getting through to negative thinkers with negative, ineffective coping skills. They ignore me. They don't listen to me. They think that they're right, that I'm right. They think they know everything. People think that they know everything about the cure for mental illness, but I'm the only one who's claiming to have it. And they say, oh, well, that's your cure for you. Everybody in mental illness does not have to go individually and cure themselves of mental illness. That's not right. And that will never happen. That's really damaging for everybody in mental illness. To expect each person to cure themselves if they want their freedom and happiness, how ego and negative is that? And selfish. Are you thinking about your own best interest, or what's in the best interest of people living in mental illness? Because I am thinking about what's in the best interest of people living in mental illness. And trust me, it's not to live in mental illness. They want their freedom and happiness too. They don't want their negative thoughts, even if they're stuck in their unconsciousness. That's why I post these videos, to stir consciousness, awaken people to their life and their happiness, help people get out of their pain, because the more people that get out of the pain, the more it's going to help other people get out of their pain. Right now, I'm on my own, but I'm coaching some people, and I hope that, it takes time, but I hope that, down the road, there's going to be more people saying, hey, we need to wake up and make positive change. And to do that with the cure for mental illness, that I miraculously, and I feel like I found the needle in the haystack. I found the process. It's my discovery. I created the process of being wrong. but it's a process for everyone to get out of their pain and negativity, and to avoid it in children. So I hope that my videos resonate with people and that they want to take the journey. I am the best person to accomplish your freedom and happiness better than you, because you are in your negative thoughts and negative ineffective coping skills, and this is the path to your authentic self, your freedom and happiness, out of mental illness or not, or just out of your negative thoughts, because everybody has negative thoughts, negative ineffective coping skills, and low self-esteem, but not everybody has a mental illness diagnosis, but it's the same process for both. And yes, it affects the quality of our life. All right, my name is Debbie Jacobs. Thanks for joining, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye bye.